All right, let's get started. Um, so, geopolitical God. I'm still on the subject matter, and so for geopolitical Christian, people like Vivek Ramaswamy or um, maybe Dennis Prager, I think Prager, they had Prager University. People who have a different faith, who clearly have a different faith, um, can still abide by political notions that would qualify them as a geopolitical Christian. And so in GPC or geopolitical Christianity, there is a concept of God. And geopolitical Christianity recognizes the reality of God. The reality of God, not the belief in God, not the idea of God or the philosophy of God, but the actual reality of God. And when the reality of God is recognized, it's not about believing so much. Belief is extremely important. Okay, you have to believe in reality for it to have an impact on you, a positive impact. But um, a knowing of God, the reality of God, it's like, okay, you get the concept. There's this ultimate power that runs the universe, that drives reality. And then at the core of it is your ability to perceive its influence over reality. And so, this unifying principle, this animating principle, this unitive concept is God. You know, believers or religious people are going to have a certain perspective of that, and they're going to perceive certain expectations from this God, from this unitive principle. And so, that's what a religious perspective would do. And you don't have to necessarily have real world evidence to justify the belief that you have in God from that perspective. Now, when it comes to a geopolitical version of God or a geopolitical Christian version of God, that version of God does not have to be um, doesn't have to be within the confines of a religious structure or framework. Instead, it has to be something that you can perceive and experience in your own way. You don't need belief to back that experience. So, a lot of people will hear inspirations or get notions and things like that, and then they'll say, God spoke to me or God gave me this message. But that's because, admittedly or not, they're recognizing that they got an inspiration and they're attributing it to a God that they choose to believe in. Whereas for a geopolitical Christian, you get an inspiration, you recognize it's coming from within yourself. You know that that's coming from a part of yourself that's even bigger than you. That's where the self transcendent concept comes to play. And then you say, okay, well, there's something bigger than me, there's something greater than me that is inspiring this. And it's something that I know to be true based on empirical evidence and a concept that is rational and logical to me. So it's like electricity. For a long time, we thought electricity was unconscious. It's just a phenomena. It's a phenomenon within reality that allows for particles to maintain their structure and A, B, C, D, F, G, all that other stuff, right? But then we say, okay, well, perhaps the ancients were identifying this unitive principle that we call electricity, they were calling it God. Religious Christians are using the same terminology, but we're understanding that electricity, frequency, currency, current is conscious. It is the essence of consciousness. And so as a result, we are going to use a different definition because that's something we can identify, that's something we can attach to. Ultimately, it's a game of semantics between um, geopolitical Christians and religious Christians or spiritual Christians. But the difference for geopolitical Christians is just that geopolitical Christians aren't bound by the same set of rules. Moral objectivity is still in play, but a geopolitical Christian can be a Hindu, you can be a Muslim, you can be an atheist, you can be any of these things, but you cannot be that if you're a religious Christian. You can't say, "Oh, I'm an atheist and a religious Christian." That's contradictory. Like you can say, "I'm a GPC, I'm a GP Christian," and be an atheist and be whatever. I mean, I think atheism is not pretty a strong philosophy, but you can theoretically be agnostic or atheist and still be a geopolitical Christian. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. I'm just going to let this turn to a video. I got absolutely 0 views while doing this live stream. It is what it is. I don't like that. I absolutely hate it, but I'm not going to stop. All right.